So week 7, we saw some tight ends have some good games, and some guys you'll be surprised. The number one guy of the week was Harrison Bryant, the rookie of the Cleveland Browns. And Bryant, he's going to be a hot pickup this week for you guys who need tight ends, and he'll be definitely mentioned in my waiver wire video. But anyway, we thought Njoku was going to be the starter in this game for Austin Hooper, who's out. His appendix exploded earlier in the week. But Bryant, the young rookie, coming in and doing some work. 4 catches, 52 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. He only had 5 targets. Well, big red zone threat is the rookie, number 88, Harrison Bryant. Baker, he looked sharp yesterday. He had no Beckham most of the game, and Hooper, like we said, is out. But this kid Bryant, he's got the speed. He's got the target status in that red zone, it looks like. It was him, not Njoku, even though Njoku scored also. So Bryant finished the day with 21 fan points, and if you could get production like that from the tight end, that is very huge. So he was the number one performer, believe it or not, this week at the tight end, the second guy, and he's been emerging now the last few weeks. It's Rob Gronkowski. It took him 5-6 weeks to get back in shape, but Brady is looking for him early and often, and also that O.J. Howard injury happening helped. But the Gronk got his 8 targets, 5 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Good for the second best performance of the week with 17 fantasy points. Another touchdown he almost had later in the game in the third quarter bounced off his hands. But Rob Gronkowski, he's looking again like an elite tight end in this league and a matchup nightmare. His route running is looking sharper. Him and Brady on those timing routes, they're hitting once again on him. We saw it yesterday on a nice slant towards the sidelines, and we also saw it last week in the back of the end zone corner route. So the Gronk and Brady on the same page, and this guy, if he's some out there, you got to go pick him up. But now he's 83% owned in fantasy football leagues is the Gronk. But what a week it was for him. And now the last 2 games, he's really emerged out there with 19 fantasy points in PPR and then 17 last night. And the Gronk, all of a sudden, he's up there in the top 10 in points for tight ends. The third guy, bona fide stud, and we said go buy him this week if a manager was disgruntled or didn't care much for him. And that was Darren Waller, 9 targets, 6 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. He's the main target over there in Las Vegas, and they're going to be trailing a lot of games, I think, even though they got a decent record. But once again, another touchdown, a solid performance for him, 17 fantasy points for the third best performance of the year, for the week, for Darren Waller. This is a guy, you put him in your lineup and you don't look twice at the tight end position each and every week, and you drafted him probably in the 5th or 6th round or maybe earlier in your fantasy drafts, and you're getting the good production out of Waller. Every week it seems like it's 15 plus for him. Only 1 bad game this year he had, that was versus New England. But besides that, Waller, his buy is done. He's got 2+ matchups coming up at Cleveland and at the Chargers in the next 2 weeks. So this guy, he could be top 3 every week in the next few weeks in fantasy points for tight ends. And the fourth guy, who I said you got to go out there and start him, TJ Hockenson. What a fantasy day for him. 17 points as well, 5 catches, 59 yards, and a game-winning touchdown at the end on 6 targets. Hockenson, like I said, big target for Matthew Stafford, especially in the red zone. And with the game on the line and 3 seconds left, Stafford found his big target wide open in the end zone was TJ Hockenson for the touchdown. What a game and a performance it was for him. Hockenson definitely a top 5 to 8 tight end. He could be the rest of the season. His bye week is up. In the last 3 weeks now, he's had 10+ fantasy points, and that's perfect production from your tight end. And all year, he's been very solid as Hockenson. So he's got Indianapolis and Minnesota coming up for him in the next 2 weeks. But Hockenson, the 4th best tight end of the week. And the 5th and final guy was Logan Thomas of the Washington football team. And I said all week he's a start and a pickup. And he didn't disappoint. 4 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown versus this puke of a Dallas Cowboy defense. And Thomas was having his way. No one covering him, breaking tackles, running down the sideline for his touchdown, and he got caught all four of his targets. He's on bye week next, but he was an easy guy to put in your lineup this week versus the worst defense, I think, in my opinion, in football, in the Dallas Cowboys. So Thomas finishing the week with 16, great production. He's had a good few games, but with Allen now 13 and then 16. So back-to-back great games. He's in a weak division. Good schedule coming up after the bye in week 8 with the Giants in Detroit. So Logan Thomas finishing the week of week 7 with tight ends with 16 points. So that's 5 tight ends of the week in fantasy football.